Hey everyone, this week is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. It is vital that we look at the reality of what goes on during an eating disorder. I think we hear a lot about like the inpatient, outpatient recovery side of things, therapy, all of that, and yet we never look at the eating disorder for what it is. Pixie 11 raises a good point talking about how it's as if you're being eaten alive. Eating disorders are all consuming and they take over every aspect of your life. People who believe that you can live a life with an eating disorder are entirely wrong. You you cannot live a life. The eating disorder takes over every aspect of your life so that you begin by isolating yourself from friends. You can't have that social life that you wanted to. You aren't able to wear the clothes that you wanted to because you feel ugly and everything. You're wearing baggy clothing. You're your days are spent not learning materials in school or dedicating your time to work, but obsessing over food, calories, and how much you're going to eat in a day. Eating disorders take over every aspect of your life, and every single thought that I had during my illness was eating disordered. There was not a moment of safe haven in the day when I could say, "Oh, at least for this hour I didn't have my eating disorder." My eating disorder was with me everywhere. It was there. Like I couldn't even explain it. Um, I think the thing that Pixie brings up that's really good is like some of the physical things that people don't want to think about when they think about eating disorders. They'd rather think, oh, that person's thin, um, and they need to get better. And they imagine people in the hospital. She was saying, where everyone wants you to get better, and they're like, how am I going to help you? How am I going to support you? And things like that. But that's not always the reality of what goes on. Um, there are so many physical factors of what plays into an eating disorder. The first thing is you lose your mind. You you are desperate to appease this dictator in your mind that is telling you that you need to restrict, bin, purge, exercise, you need to cut whatever. This this taskmaster in your head is telling you that if you don't do this, you're an utter failure. And the thought of being a failure might not hit some, but the way that your mind works is you know what words to say to bring yourself down. And so it's whatever words that you work in your mind that hits you. And it's in those moments and when this dictator is telling you in your head that you need to restrict, you do it just because you have to. The thing that I think about when I think back on my illness was that I I was completely lost. I was not in my mind. My days I spent obsessing over eating disordered thoughts. I was belittling myself with every breath I took. I wanted to fall to the ground and collapse every day. I would walk through the hallways and feel my knees tremble because I didn't have like that much calories in me. And when you're walking through the hallways and you want to fall to the ground because you hope and you hope that that's the only thing that'll save you, you know that you can't go on like that. When you can't focus in classes, you can't focus in your daily life because your mind has not been given the calories that it needs. And I know it's people might think, oh, well, you can't focus. I am talking about the type of not being able to focus where you can't look at a page and read it because you can't read because your eating disorder can't let you see the words on the page. I also know grasping concepts becomes insanely difficult. I have read numerous novels during my illness, and I reread it now that I'm in recovery, and I have no idea like that I read this book before. Like it's so weird. But the self-loathing and guilt that comes with eating disorders is so overwhelming that it's like paralyzing because when you feel so terrible about yourself and the belittling thoughts are running through your head and your eating disorder is screaming at you, telling you that you need to obey it, it tears you down and you physically can't function. You can't just stop having the eating disorder because it's your coping skill. It's the only way you've learned how to function. But then again, you can't live a life, as I said, with an eating disorder. Everything that an eating disorder touches, it rips painfully away from you. I I know I've written numerous lists in recovery of like things that I've lost to my eating disorder, you know, time, friends, relationships, things like that. And you think, wow, like not even just that, like I lost respect for myself. I lost the dignity to recognize that I'm a human. I deserve to eat. I deserve to know that I am loved. And having that like weigh on you, thinking that you can't eat because you're not worthy, you're not special enough. That is a ridiculous thing. One thing that Pixie said in her video that I absolutely adored was just because you enter treatment doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be happy. Um, Sorry, my nose itches. You're not instantly going to be happy. You're not going to be thin and, you know, everything will work out and you'll be fulfilled suddenly. It's a lot of hard work that goes into recovery. And there are days when you come home from therapy and the first thing you do is binge purge, or the next day you restrict, or you come home and you cut or whatever. And you tear yourself down because it's like you're trying to work on recovery and yet you physically do not know how to function without this. And like a lot of people think that it's a very selfish disease and you're self-centered, but the thing is it's never about yourself. People think like, as I said, it's selfish. Well, why? What's so selfish about telling yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, how worthless, pathetic, ugly you are, and hearing that voice running in your mind telling you that you're not good enough? Who would want that? Instead, wouldn't you be thinking it's more uplifting things, going around boasting, saying, I'm the best person in the world, you all wish you were me? And it does get really hard with the like perception of others because people see you losing weight. They see that you're getting thinner and then they ask, how are you staying so healthy? How are you doing this? And sometimes they don't believe it. I know my sister, one time, somebody asked her how she stayed thin, and she straight out told them what she did, which was like not good things at all, but she told them exactly what she did. And somebody didn't believe her. They didn't believe that she could actually do that, like that somebody would do that to themselves. Um, and that was just like a normal eating, like it wasn't to the extreme that I had been at. Um, but eating disorders are so horrible. You literally lose your mind. Everything is done to appease the taskmaster in your head that's yelling at you, saying that you have to do this or else. And you have to, like, there's no doubt about it. You have to binge, you have to purge, you have to restrict, you have to do it. And it's the voice that's in your head telling you that you need to do these things that utterly drives you insane. People don't look at the craziness that comes with eating disorders, but I clearly remember days where I was counting how many calories I was burning by brushing my teeth or making my bed in the morning. I remember I used to go play piano for 5 minutes in the morning because I would burn some calories when I didn't have any energy to walk up and down the stairs or to run on the elliptical or something. Your mind starts to shut down and you are just impelled by this voice in your head telling you that you have to. You can't escape it. You have to count every single calorie. You have to you have to be the thinnest. And the thing is, you'll never see that. You'll never know how thin you are because eating disorders say that you know, you need to be thin, you need to do all this. But then you never see that thinness. You never think that you are ever good enough. I the one thing that comes to mind, also reflecting on Pixie's video about the reality of what happens during an illness, is the fact that you want to die. I've heard that eating disorders can be related to a slow suicide, and that the thought of eating one thing is terrifying. I remember this past summer I was in group therapy. I had barely eaten anything all day. Ed was running rampant in my mind, and they decided that it was best if I got support and had something to eat while at group. And I was bawling my eyes out because I physically could not bring any food to my mouth. I could not eat. I didn't know how to eat. It it was tearing me apart. And the fact that I eat even the smallest thing, I felt like I just wanted to die on the spot, because your mind gets in this place where dying is preferable to living in the hell that an eating disorder is. Because when you're sitting down for the sixth day in a row, um, like your stomach roaring because you haven't been eating, and you can feel your ribs sitting on one another, or you can feel, as Pixie said, your stomach wants to claw its way out of your body, and the insomnia that comes, and like just being so wrapped up in the physical pain and agony. I remember sitting in classes and have no idea what the teacher said, but all I can remember is the empty hole that I felt digging in my stomach because I hadn't been eating. I hadn't had anything in my system. This is the reality of eating disorders. People don't want to look at it. It is something that needs to be addressed, though. Eating disorders eat you alive. It tears down your self confidence, it tears down your physical body, even if you remain at a healthy weight. It tears down your ability to function, where you're not even involved in your life. You can be watching your life as if it's a movie, not actively participating in it because you're trapped inside your mind. And when it comes to things like that, that is when you have a serious eating disorder, a serious mental illness that needs treatment. Um, so this week, as I said, is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. And I think that it's vital to look at the importance of learning about eating disorders, understanding what the illness is, so that if you know anyone who suffers with an eating disorder, you might be able to better understand where they're coming from. Or even if you suffer from an eating disorder, recognizing the craziness that goes along with it. I know people, the pro Annas, who are out there glamorizing this illness, thinking it's the best thing in the world. It's so important that they look at videos like this and videos like Pixies and see that eating disorders are not something you want. They're not glamorous. It's not fun. It is pain. You are yelled at 24 hours a day, and it's not something that you want to live with. So again, this week is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week, and I hope that all of you are well. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.